Well, what this all leads up to, another man around here who was by far one of the outstanding ragtime piano players, played in the Maple Leaf Club, played at social dances, played in his own club, was a wonderful, fine fellow, and his name was Arthur Marshall. And in 1899, when the Maple Leaf Rag was being published, another rag was being worked on called the Swipesy Cakewalk by Scott Joplin and Arthur Marshall. And this tune, this is an original copy of it. And it just so happens tonight we have in the house Mr. Arthur Marshall, who came in from Kansas City, who I'd like very much for you to meet. And I'd like to have Arthur come up here if you would, please. Somebody bring him up. Arthur Marshall, it's wonderful to have you here tonight, and I know that all these good people, some of them already know you, but perhaps some of them don't. And so, how does it feel to be back in Sedalia?
Well, I'll tell you, I feel great and wonderful to be back home. This is my home place where I was born and raised and educated. And it's a great treat for me to be back home, even though I'm an elder man, but still I feel as young in the thought of being back home as I ever did.
Well, how's that? Isn't that nice? Arthur, we have a number of your tunes here that I wanted to discuss with you. Can you tell us a little bit about Swipesy Cakewalk?
Well, Swipesy Cakewalk was my first piece that was published of my writing and Scott Joplin. Now, on this title page, you'll see this little boy. And how come that to be named Swipesy, standing in John Stark's music publishing house, two little newspaper boys, they got in a little squabble out in the street and kept quite a bit of noise. Well, Mr. Stark, he just happened to look out and said, "Look at there, that boy's stealing that other boy's paper." And some said, "Well, there's a good title, call it Swipesy."
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Arthur, this tune was published in 1900, and
1900, that's right.
and this was your first rag
That was
published
my
here?
first rag published.
And was this tune popular in and around this area?
It was. Also in St. Louis and Chicago.
Yes, it was a real fine number. Incidentally, it's recorded on one or two records with a fine band. Now, I notice you have another one there. What's the name of this one?
This one is named Kinklets.
Want to hold that up so they can see it? There's Kinklets. How'd you name it Kinklets?
Well, this became Kinklets because Mr. John Stark was quite a man that was great to substitute someone to answer a question. And I was playing it, and I heard Mr. Stark patting his foot. So that's got plenty of kinks in it. And he named it Kinklets.
Wonderful. And that tune came out in 1906.
1906 is right.
We have another number here, Arthur. Would you like to describe this one?
Well, I'll describe this one.
I'll get this one out from here, all right?
I'll describe this one very easily. When I composed this piece, I was lost for a name. And in thinking and running my faculty around for names, I just happened to think of a peach. And I said, I'll call it the peach.
Well, that took care of that.
Yeah.
This also is in the ragtime field. Is a very fine number. We have another one here. Maybe this ought to be good. I'd like to hear some of this. I'll hold these.
This piece is
Ham and.
ham and. In order to say the whole thing, ham and eggs, but I just used the words ham and. And it made quite an enthusiasm around the clubs and the different socials where I played. So that's why I gave it the name of Ham and. And Mr. Stark thought that was quite good for the benefit of its name and the comedy that was in it, Ham and. That is a great restaurant order for the breakfast meal. So we named the rag Ham and.
Ham and. I noticed those two eggs are easy over, are they, or straight up?
They're straight up, straight up. Didn't want to close the eyes.
Arthur, I'm sure everybody out here who did not have the opportunity of meeting Scott, he died in 1917, perhaps you could tell in your own words a little bit here into this about your feeling and your reaction to this man, because you knew him very well.
Well, I certainly did know Mr. Joplin very, very well. He'd taken a liking to me when he roomed with me and my brother and my mother's home. And on our old long-time square piano, that is all we had to practice on, well, Mr. Joplin would tell me, go ahead and play that again, go ahead and play that piece again. Well, that way we began to get together. And I found him one of the most pleasant men you ever want to meet. He wasn't a very large man, but he had a wonderful personality. And he was kind to all of us musicians that used to just, as I say, flock around him, because he was an inspiration to us all. And we always looked like treasured him as a daddy to the bunch of piano players here in Sedalia. And that way we found him to be just the same when he left St. Louis and stopped in my home in Chicago, Illinois, and from there on to New York. And to my regret, and sorry of it until today, I didn't get word that he was dead until the day he was being buried, and I couldn't get up there to see him. So anyhow, there wasn't a better man known in my whole lifetime than Mr. Scott Joplin. Darch to ragtime.
Well, thank you very much, Arthur. That's very, very fine. The fact is, we're going to interview Mr. Marshall again tomorrow in an effort to get a little series of his remarks in the newspaper so that you might read his experiences with Scott Joplin. Arthur, I'd like to play a tune for you called the Swipesy Cakewalk. Would you care to drop over by the piano here?
Glad to have you do it.
Well, fine. I think we lost our rope. Or did we? There we did. This tune, again, was written in 1900, actually published in 1900, but they were working on it in 1899, rather. And it's a real fine rag that I'm sure you'll enjoy. You can see the Joplinist qualities, and especially Arthur Marshall's qualities of his styling in the music. I might like to add one more thing. There were 5 great men in ragtime music, of which Scott Joplin is the leader. The next men to fall in line would be men that were associated with him: Tom Turpin, Joe Lamb, and last but not least, we can't forget Arthur Marshall, and another man from Carthage, Missouri, another fine piano player. He's known as the Chopin of ragtime, and his name was James Scott. They referred to him as Jimmy Scott down here. And we'll have a little more on that in just a minute or two. But right now, here is Arthur Marshall's great old tune, 1900, that you'd have heard coming out of the honky-tonks up and down and around town. Great old number entitled The Swipesy Cakewalk. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Marshall, about 3 months ago, was it, sir? Last winter. Mr. Marshall had a stroke, and it impaired the use of his left hand. However, because I felt that everyone here would like to have been able to say that they heard Arthur Marshall play the piano, I've asked him to play, and he wants it understood, really, that, as you know, he was a real whiz in this town and all over in St. Louis and around. But if it is a question of he's going to play this because I'm asking him to as a friend, and it is an imposition, but I felt that it would be not a complete evening unless you heard Arthur Marshall play the piano, even if it's only a few measures, if you will.
Now, I'd just like to say one thing. I'm at loss to think that I can't reproduce what I first written here and made quite fame on for you people that haven't known me like many of the old-timers. And with this bad arm, now if you hear it making some bad blurs, please excuse me. And I'll do the very best I can.
Mr. Williams, well, we want to find out who you are and where you're from.
I was born here in Sedalia.
You were born in Sedalia?
1886.
1886.
Yeah, I remember when these boys, Marshall, Scott Joplin, and all, and my mother took me away from here, took me to St. Louis. And I've been all over the world since that, because I've traveled with shows. A little fella comes here that does tricks, named Davenport. Of course, he's like Marshall. He's afflicted now. He's got a stroke. And see, but I'm still here, and I sing ballads, you know, when I travel, dressed in a tuxedo, and travel with big shows, see. I've been all around, and then I used to play piano in...
You still play, Mr. Williams?
I can play some, you know, I'm no...
You say houses, I ought to take it away from you there.
But I'll play...
Would you like to play?
I'll play...
What are you going to play?
I'll play a sentimental number and sing it for you. Show
Well,
you
that'll be
I
swell.
have it.
That's right. We'll listen to that.
Now this boy that he plays his song, Shelton Brooks, Joe Jordan, and all those boys, I was living in Chicago when they first wrote them songs. And we used to go in houses, have good times, you know, and meet the girls. And here's one song I used to sing to the girls, you know, when I'd meet them, and I'd want to cut in with them, you know, make love to them. And I'd say to them, "What's your name, honey?" And she'd tell me, "My name is so-and-so and so." Well, didn't care what her name was. I'd say, whatever her name was, that's what I'd name this song that I'm going to play for you now. And so I'd sing it to her, and here's the way it went, the words to it. When I lay this down here.
If you close this house, Mr. Williams, I'll never forgive you.
Well, I suppose a girl would tell me her name was Mame. Well, here's what I'd sing to her then. I'd like to tell you, Mame, how much I love you. But you know, dear, I never went to school. But I say I'll be true as stars above you. No, you only think that I am a fool. I can't use pretty language like a poet. If I give you much, then I deserve. But I love you and I want you to know it. So here goes, dear, before I lose my nerve. I love you like a couple loves to sleep, and like other newsboy loves his pipe. I love you like the baby loves to creep. If I don't love you, dear, I hope to die. I love you like the miser loves his coin. I love you like the gambler loves his game. Just like the Reuben loves the tenderloin. I love you. Say that's how I love you, me. Here's one of our rags we play around Chicago and New York. When I was with them big timers, I was with Shelton Brooks, with all you Burt Williams, George Walker. I've been with all, and I can imitate all them people. When I get in, you know, get to feeling good sometimes.
Are you feeling good?
Yeah, I can.
You didn't answer my question. You feeling good?
Yeah, I'm
What's the name of this rag?
This is called Williams' rag. This is
rag.
one of my own rags.
One of your own rags. All right, go to it.
What I call right.
You would, you got to
No, this is
that's another record. Yes. Songs, Arthur, yourself? I mean, now I'm not talking about rags. I mean, ragtime songs.
No. I didn't try to write my songs. Everything was ragtime, dance music.
And what do you consider your best rag?
Well, my best rags was I consider is Kinkless, Hammerman, and the
Pippin?
Swipesy, yeah.
Swipesy.
Hammerman and the Pipkin. In fact, I like all of them.
You do?
All of them was good, to my notion. They played right.
Arthur, you said you joined this minstrel show. Could you tell me what would a minstrel show program consist of? Could you tell me in one evening?
Well, it's just-
How would it start?
Well, it opens up. When it opens up, you've seen the pictures of minstrels having it
Yeah,
open up.
but is that accurate?
Hmm?
Or is that an accurate picture usually? It opened up with a band playing, did it? Or is that
The
the...
orchestra is behind the entertainers of the minstrel.
Behind
Sit-
it?
Sit in a circle, and the orchestra is mounted behind them. And when the curtain goes up, you know how the end man is
Yeah,
sitting up and
yeah,
all
yeah.
that. But it's really classical, all right. And the very best of singers we could get hold of, they have them. As well as bandmen.
And they'd sing and they'd...
Oh, yeah, singing a lot of those ragtime songs and good dances, you know. And then with plenty of good jokes. Keep the people laughing until they could hardly keep tears out of their eyes. So we used to have a lot of fun.
Oh, are there, what would be the, did you ever hear of a minstrel, Molasses White minstrels?
Who?
Molasses White?
No,
No.
no.
The, did you ever hear, how about the ragtime contests? Did you ever happen to follow in on those? Or,
Oh, no, I only played in one.
all right, when was this?
That was long about, I don't know, long about 1912, I guess, in St. Louis. But I won the prize all right, because I played a maple leaf from. That's when I could really play it, as well as later on. I played the maple leaf, none of them could have handled that very much. At that time, with me and Scott Joplin.
Well, then how did you play it? Did you play it fast? Is that it? Or?
Played in good fast rate time and plenty of syncopation. And played perfect, that's the main thing.
Yeah.
Like it's written.
Well, that's
I
good.
played Pianist, but I didn't play no contest once, just to be playing for some friends.
How about Mike Bernard? Did you ever run across Mike
No.
Bernard? Did you hear of him?
No, I never heard of him as I know of. As I now remember, no.
Does a name like One-Leg Willie Smith mean anything to you?
No. There's a lot of them I've heard the names called, but I couldn't tell you who they were. Never met them. And, of course, there's just a whole lot of items that you all could
Sure.
handle, but I just don't remember them all, you know. Time has passed, a lot of it got away from me. Just
Well,
like,
sure.
yeah.
Well, since we've got a big day tomorrow, and you're probably getting a little tired of this, Arthur, it's been a real pleasure, and I hope to play your number exactly the way you
Yes,
had
but
it.
I am going to be honest with you. I'd rather not be forced to try to play something that I know I can't do. And it will make an awful bad showing on my ability to play any of my pieces or anything like I want to, because I can't use this hand. That's
Right.
just all.
Well, Arthur, how about we do this? Let's do it this way. How about saying, everybody would like to hear Arthur play, and how about doing this? Just play one chord, bang, and you can get up and say, you've heard Arthur play, and let it go at that. I mean, I'm just thinking of something to get him along without having to play anything, you know? Because I don't want to put you on the spot. That's the only
And
thing I
that's
would
the
do.
spot for me. Of course, I might manage to play a part of one string, but I have to play it slow because I can't keep up with this arm, see what I.
Well, you see, the one thing, Arthur, I was thinking about is that this thing will be taped, see? And the taping actually is, you haven't any rolls out, have you?
No.
And you have any records?
No, I have no records of any of my
See?
stuff at all.
The thing
There
I'm
has
trying to
been records made of it, but I don't know who had them made.
see, what I was thinking of doing is
I've
dubbing in
heard-
that
I've
later
heard-
if we can get him.
Heard a lot of my pieces over the broadcast.
Yeah.
Did you ever make any piano rolls?
Hmm?
Did you ever make any piano rolls?
No,
You remember Joplin made any?
not to my knowledge. No, when Joplin went to New York, we was too far apart to know much about each other at all.
Do you have any letters from him?
Who?
From Scott? Do you have any, Scott Joplin, do you have any of his writing, any of his handwriting, or letters from him, or anything?
No, I don't think I've got any. The last letter I got from Scott, I don't know where it is. I guess it's been destroyed. He was a pretty well-educated man, now, there's no joke about that.
Well, his musical ability sure was good. There's no question
Yeah.
about his rags. They're reflected, though, in the works of the fellows behind, under him, too, than yourself as a...
Yeah, Joplin's a fine man. Good writer, kind and very well understood amongst the public. You know, a lot of the piano players used to like, see who can play the best rag.
Yeah.
But they go shooting at one another, joking, you know.
Mm.
And that caused a lot of them to compose some pretty good rags. A lot of good rags has been wasted, no way to get no record of them. Just play them and go from one town to another, making money. But there's no record of what they're playing made that I know of.
Was Frog Legs a very popular rag?
It went big. Frog Legs went big. Yeah, James Scott, he made very good on that rag. I understand he got quite a bit of royalties out of it. The thing of it is, a rag ain't worth nothing to you if you can't make some money out of it.
Well, that's true.
Sure. So I just sell it to a guy and get a few dollars out, and then you get out and make $1 million out, and you ain't got nothing.
Nothing. That's right.
You know, I got away from that kind of stuff, but the country was full of that at that time. And then the guy that wrote your rag down, if you got a chance to get the copyright before you knew anything, it was his rag and you couldn't do nothing at all about it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's one thing about old man Stark. He was pretty fair with his people that he sold rags, bought rags from. He give them a royalty on it. You know, 2 years, 3 years, as long as he was publishing and selling, he paid you royalties. And that's the only way it should be.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can't make something out of it, then it's no use getting into it.
Well, that's true. There's no sense selling it to you. Your own product.